Hello, dear friends. Today I'm going to share with you some books that I've read recently that have made me a little smarter, or maybe just a little less stupid, because we live in a really big, confusing world. And after reading these books, I feel like it's helped me make sense of some of the things that are happening. It's allowed me to make better choices for my future, think more critically, and ultimately live a life with more purpose. So without further ado, let's get started. So first up on the roster, we've got Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman. Now this is the original, like the blueprint for all these books that are coming out right now. They're talking about the dangers of social media and technology. This was the original. It was published in 1985, and it's essentially Postman going into very great detail about how terrible television is, because it's forever changed the way we process information. Because once TV entered society, topics that used to be serious, like politics, news, education, economics, everything, it all became entertainment to us, and also through a lens of capitalism. That moment became ground zero for when it became more about grabbing your attention than actually informing you. And so this shift to visual media has had some negative consequences to our society, because it's affected our ability to have like meaningful conversations about complex things. We're in this sea of content. We're being blasted with information at every waking hour. And because it's so much information, we can't discern what is important, what's real. The thing is with short form content, it reminds me of eating a bag of chips. Like the first 2 or 3 chips are delicious. They're salty, they're savory, they're spicy. But as I continue to eat through the bag, I end up feeling more crappy about myself. I feel full, but I'm not nourished. That's essentially what being on social media for too long makes me feel. It gives me the illusion that I'm learning and I'm being informed about something. But I'm gonna be honest, after watching like 5 to 10 reels on a topic, I wouldn't be able to write an essay or even have a debate with someone about it. If anything, I think short form content is just like an appetizer, you know? It exposes you to a bunch of different ideas. But the thing is, if I really want to understand something, I'm gonna reach for a piece of long form content, like a lecture, a podcast, and a book, definitely a book. There's like a level of complexity and nuance that's missing in videos. Even this one, especially this one. Overall, this book inspired me to read more, because books are an excellent container for information. Next up, we have Stolen Focus by Johann Hari. This is kind of like the modern day version of Amusing Ourselves to Death, because it covers the attention crisis that we're currently in. There have just been far too many times where I am just alternating between the same apps and tabs on my phone, and it's like I'm possessed. Like my hand is just like automatically doing it. And there have been moments where I've just felt so much shame, being like, oh my God, like what's wrong with me? I don't have any self-control. But I learned that this is not all inherently my fault. It's because there are hundreds of the smartest people in the world and sophisticated algorithms on the other side of the screen that are trying to glue me to my phone. So the next time you catch yourself in that state, just give yourself some grace and know that it's not all your fault. So there was a small study that revealed that American college students can only focus on one task for 65 seconds. That is so disturbing, but it also doesn't surprise me. And the thing is, we love to blame tech for everything. And yes, it is a problem, but there's actually a lot of other underlying factors, like the fact that we are not getting quality sleep, we're eating very poorly, we're also inhaling like pollutants in the air, which are causing brain inflammation that's affecting our ability to focus. So it's just a lot. And like, I feel like technology is just like the cherry on top of this shit sundae. This is so depressing. And I swear to God that this book is not all doom and gloom. There is hope, because you can get your attention back. Like the brain is very resilient, and you can train it to become the way it once was. So one tip that I really loved was to stop multitasking. It's really a myth. Your brain can't actually do 2 things at once. You're just making it work harder and straining it by switching back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this book has just taught me to just like really focus on one thing, and when I'm doing something, really put my heart and soul in it and try to chase activities that get me into that flow state. I feel like this book just gave me like good evidence on why I really believe in the power of long form media and just slowing things down and taking care of yourself. My next book is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. So Frankl was a psychiatrist and a Holocaust survivor. He was in a concentration camp in Auschwitz during World War II, and he was like observing all these different reactions to people having their humanity ripped away from them. He was able to invent an entirely new style of therapy through his observations. And the essence of his theory is that if you can find a reason to live, then that can carry you through any difficult situation that you're going through. Like there's this one scene in the book where he's on this work march and he falls because he's feeling weak, and this soldier goes up to him and he starts hitting him with his rifle, and he's like, get up, get up. And Frankl realized like, man, if I don't get up, I'm literally gonna die here. But there was another part of him where he imagined him giving a speech about this very experience and using that to transform everyone's life in the room for the better. He used that as motivation and he got up, and then he ended up being this ultra famous psychologist and philosopher. So yeah, this book is just one of the greatest books because whenever I'm feeling aimless or hopeless, it inspires me to continue to search for meaning in my life. It's less about like achieving the goal, but more about the searching. It's about finding different ways to find purpose. Here we have Recapture the Rapture by Jamie Wheal. This book is just flat out fascinating. Like the whole time I was reading this, I was like, it reminds me of like an edgier version of Sapiens, but it actually has a toolkit on helping you find transcendence. So Wheal believes that we're in a meaning crisis. We can't make sense of anything. We're lacking inspiration, like true inspiration that offers us salvation. And it's because our environment is transforming faster than us. E.O. Wilson said this best. He is an evolutionary biologist. He says that we live in medieval institutions, we have Paleolithic emotions, but we have godlike technology. AKA, we're bonobos with nukes. But Wheal believes that we can create like a new revolution of wisdom and peace using these 5 meaning-making activities. They're breathwork, movement, music, sex, and substances. And I love all of these things. So it definitely resonated with me. And I have a feeling that the future is gonna be pretty chaotic. So I wanna make sure that I am engineering myself in a way that is anti-fragile. And this is why I'm like communicating it to you, because if you think like me or you have the same concerns as me, then I feel like this book can be very helpful. This is also our book club's pick for January. I have a book club called Curl Up Club. I will leave the information in the description box, so please join us. I would love to discuss this with you. So this is the Bottlenecks of the 21st Century by DJ White and Nate Hagans. This is actually a college textbook for a course called Reality 101, which I would honestly love to freaking take because I am a big fan of Nate Hagans' podcast. It's called The Great Simplification. I will leave some of my favorite episodes in the description box, so please click it open if you are interested. He's made me look at energy and the way the physical world works in a more like clear and comprehensive way. I think now I have a better understanding of the way energy works, particularly fossil fuels like oil, coal, gas. I would say this book was like a big like red pill, blue pill moment. You know, there's like that scene in The Matrix where Morpheus is like, you know, you take the red pill, I'll show you what life's really like, but it's gonna unsettle you, but at least you'll know the truth. And then you can take the blue pill, which is you can just go back to your normal life and be ignorant. Like this book is that red pill. And it's like pretty intense, but I feel like now I have a better understanding of just the way the systems in our worlds work, but through like an ecological perspective, a biological perspective. And it explained to me why the current system where we're like sacrificing everything for the sake of GDP and economic growth is just not sustainable. Very complex issues, but described in a very straightforward manner. So this next book is called Storyworthy by Matthew Dix. I picked this up a couple years ago because I wanted to become a better storyteller. I wanted to add a little more pizzazz to my stories. But as I read this book, I realized, oh my God, storytelling really bleeds through every facet of your life. And you might think that it's a skill that you don't need to work on, but this book will change that, because when you become a better storyteller, you become a better listener, you become a better partner, parent, teacher. And the thing is, we all are constantly storytelling. You tell a story when you're talking about your day, when you're pitching an idea, when you are talking to your child and like trying to teach them a lesson. Like, you really want that story to stick and hit. And like, there's a reason why storytellers in tribal communities were just highly respected. It's because they're the ones who transferred wisdom and values and traditions. Like, if you have a message that you want to convey, then that is a story. So this is a skill that is really valuable for our society, and I have no doubt that it'll continue to be valuable. I have been doing this activity called Homework for Life. It's what you do at the end of the day, and you just write a little blurb about the most story-worthy moment of your day. This has just made powerful waves in my personal growth. First off, it helps me remember what happened in my life. So now when people ask me, hey, how are you? What's new? I like actually remember what happened. 2, this helps me recognize patterns that are happening in my life. 3, it's made me more interesting because I'm retaining more information. And 4, it has helped slow down the time, because now a month feels like a month. Because when I look at my Homework for Life, I can zoom out and see everything that I've done for the month. And the crazy thing is, like, when I just read one sentence, I remember that entire day. And so it's such a beautiful way to time travel and capture memories. It's just raised the quality of my life, which I appreciate. All right, folks, those are 7 of the books that I have read recently that have made an impact on the way I think. I would absolutely love any recommendations in the comments down below. It would be great if you even left like a little tip or summary, or like what resonated with you in the comments down below. I truly love when it becomes like a public discourse where we can communicate with one another and ultimately learn. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye bye. Mwah.